Well, hello again, everyone. I'm Lauren Christensen, Bryan LifePoint dietitian, joining you again to provide some additional tips and suggestions in relation to snacking. So last week I shared a video regarding just over snacking in general, overall snacking. Today I want to kind of take a deeper dive into that late night snacking period. So I hear from a lot of people that snacking after supper is somewhat problematic in the sense that they recognize that for the most part it is not out of true hunger that they're reaching for that particular snack. Many of you may have heard of that advice to quit eating or not eat after 7 or 8, 6 p.m. Sometimes it changes. Whatever the time is, that really is based around curbing the snacking or the eating that may be more mindless and may be occurring in front of the TV or whatnot. So like I said, let's take a little bit deeper dive into how to help work through some of those evening time munchies here. Okay, so my top tips. First, I would really encourage you to go back to that mindful eating video that I shared a few weeks back. And this will give you some guidance to really determine where that hunger is stemming from. It could include questions like, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Sometimes thirst can present as hunger. Am I bored? Am I upset? Or am I tired? So sometimes asking those questions before you do eat can be really helpful. Determine where that hunger stems from, like I said, so true hunger, emotional hunger, or habit. And that's another common justification, along with rewarding yourself for getting through another busy, stressful, long day. If it's out of habit, it may be something that you've done for years, or maybe it's something that you associate with another activity. For example, sitting down in your favorite chair and watching the evening news or watching a favorite show, and you decide you need something to munch on during that time. So that really goes back to kind of noticing triggers or noticing what's at play and being able to find appropriate and alternate coping mechanisms to work through that, or, and we'll talk further about this, identify some helpful distractions. Now, if you determine that you're truly hungry at that point, you've had supper, but you're still finding that you are hungry, and you recognize that this is something that may occur quite often, it may be best to explore that a bit further. So, are you not getting enough calories or proper adequate nutrition throughout the day? I've had a lot of people that have said something along the lines of, oh, well, I was really good all day, but then I overdid it at night. And that may be indicating that we just need to kind of redistribute those calories or the nutrition that we're providing to more evenly distribute it throughout our day, so that your body doesn't compensate by getting too little by trying to get that in later in the day then. Perhaps it was also just maybe in regards to your evening meal. So maybe it was shy in protein or fiber, and focusing on how to balance those key nutrients in throughout that evening meal may be beneficial in providing a longer lasting satisfaction or satiety. If you determine that your desire to snack was not coming from a place of true hunger, but rather from a habit, it may behoove you to switch up your evening routine. So can you move to maybe a different room in your house, perhaps one that's further away from the kitchen? Can you find something to do that is active? Maybe it's hey, okay, after dinner when I would normally sit down in my favorite chair and grab some popcorn or something to munch on. Instead, now that it's getting nicer out, maybe I'm going to go for an evening walk. Doesn't have to be a super long walk, but again, just enough to kind of switch up that routine a bit. Maybe you want to do some yoga or some stretching during that time to kind of help relax you a bit further. Can you mix up your evening routine by doing a puzzle or a craft? Maybe you want to journal or do some coloring. Something that utilizes and keeps your hands busy could also be really helpful. A lot of these concepts may be more effective to focus on as you work through those various emotions that may be at play too. So they provide a healthy outlet for you to work through those feelings and focus on what you want to start doing rather than what you want to stop doing. So again, it just gives us a different outlet, different way to kind of work through whatever feelings or emotions we are experiencing. Another helpful tip is to track your intake specifically during this time. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh gosh, she's one of those, she's going to make us track, or she's going to encourage tracking. I know that tracking is not really anybody's favorite thing to do, but it may help serve as that source of accountability. So if you're honest with yourself, that could be really telling and may allow you to identify some patterns that weren't working well for you, along with patterns that may work a little bit better. So if you know, in my case anyways, if I know that I'm going to be writing something down and entering it into an app, it may allow me to kind of pause, stop, and really determine where that hunger is stemming from so that I can make an appropriate choice or decision there. I know analyzing sleep patterns when it comes to figuring out what is going on with your evening snacking may seem kind of out of turn, but really sleep can provide, or sleep patterns can provide some helpful answers, particularly if you aren't getting enough sleep. And that may be something that is common right now. I've talked to many people saying, well, I have a crazy busy day, and then, I'm not really able to kind of fully digest everything that's going on and everything that is in the news and whatnot. So then I lie awake thinking about those things in the evening, and I'm not getting as restful or as much sleep. When we're lacking in sleep, that can affect appetite regulation hormones, and we ultimately end up producing less leptin, which is a hormone that tells us when we're full and when it's okay to stop eating when we've had enough. And we may produce more ghrelin, which is a hormone that triggers hunger. This may lead us to reach for more simple carbohydrates, not only during the evening, but throughout the day. And that's because that gives us a more rapid burst of energy. The problem there is that this is likely going to not only increase your calorie intake, but these foods don't generally stick with us as long either. So we ultimately end up reaching for another snack once we crash, and then that cycle repeats itself. So rather, having a more balanced combination of complex carbohydrates, so whole grain type things, protein and fiber at those times where our body, is trying to compensate for maybe lack of sleep, would be better in terms of that overall satisfaction, or how long we remain feeling full. Now, that does not necessarily fix the sleep pattern. So that is something that if you do recognize, hey, this is problematic for me, I'm not getting as much sleep as I normally would, or it's not restful. Maybe it's, delving into meditation to help kind of calm that thought process so that you're able to get to sleep easier or go back to sleep if you awake and your brain starts going. I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but give it a whirl. If that still doesn't really help, it may be worth reaching out to your physician and just seeing if there's some further guidance that they can provide in regards to helping you improve those sleep patterns. If all of these things don't really work well for you, and you still find that you're reaching for an evening snack when you know you're not truly hungry, maybe it would be better just to kind of plan that in. That sounds counterproductive or against everything that I just shared here, but I've had a lot of individuals also say, okay, I pushed it off for so long. I did the whole thing of distracting myself for 5 to 15 minutes, and then it just came back even harder. And I ended up eating more than maybe what I would have initially. If that is you, then maybe it is more beneficial to just say, okay, I'm going to allot a certain amount of calories for this time frame, but keep it to comfortable range in terms of not tipping you over what you may need over the course of an entire day. So a lot of times I would say, no more than 150 to 200. But again, that can vary depending on the person and what their needs are throughout the day. So when we put this cap on the calories during that time, kind of like accountability, it helps say, okay, I know that I have this much wiggle room, I have this much to play with, so I'm going to make a more balanced choice for myself, something that is going to give me the volume, but also not go up and above those calories within a couple of bites. Makes it more of a nutrient-dense selection. Well, with that, I hope that this has been a helpful addition to my previous segment on just overall healthy snacking. However, if you do have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address listed there below, lauren.christensen@bryanhealth.org. As always, I hope that you choose to nourish your body every time that you eat. Keep in mind, dark chocolate can be a great addition once in a while too. It's got some really great antioxidant benefits, so that can always fit. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay well. Thanks, everyone.